On tonight's show, I'm joined by Ron Atkinson, Simon Delaney and Eric Lawler, and I'll be talking to the Irish woman who lifted the lid on Lance Armstrong and his role in one of the biggest drug scandals in sporting history. Welcome to the Craig Doyle Show. Please say hello to Ron, Simon and our very own Eric. And a lovely crowd too. Good to have you here, crowd. We are talking showbiz, we're talking sport, we're talking drugs. We got everything for you tonight. But Eric Lawler, I can see the pain in your face. It's been a difficult week for you because you're a big Irish football fan.
I am.
And it's been tricky. Trapp is staying.
Yeah.
Yes,
he is.
for the moment.
It's not great news altogether.
Yeah, we're caught with a trap. He won't walk out. No. Friday was a bit of a nightmare scenario. Horrific result, horrific performance. The demeanour was all wrong. It just looked like he'd lost the team. The scoreline, you know, will be forever idolised and immortalised by the 6-1 news. But you know, I mean, everyone wants Ireland to play lovely football. We probably don't have the players to play lovely football. Everyone wants to play like Barcelona, you know, the ticky-tacky. We're more, you know, yicky, yucky, horses, gocky, more, you know. You know, I mean, Barcelona, I mean, you know, we all want to play the one-touch football. And I think, you know, you've got to give credit to Trapp, because on Friday night we did play one-touch football. We had one touch and scored with it. So,
Simon, have you been keeping an eye on things on your travels? You still watching the
I watched the match last week in the States, yeah, in a very dingy bar down in New York with about 6 Irish fellas, because it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So about 20 past 3, we thought we were going to leave, because I think we were 4-0 down at that point, weren't we? It was horrendous.
Mind you, in a pub at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you could have been in Ron's 1985 Man U team with that level of drinking. Ron, what do you make of Trapattoni? He's a pal of yours, isn't he?
Trapattoni, for me, is one of the greatest managers of all time. I'll say that straight away. All right, he's going through a bad time, but you got no players. I mean, you had the great team when Jack was manager. You had some great players then. Leading up to this one, or to the Euros, I thought he did exceptionally well to get you to the Europeans. You didn't do so well there, but that's understandable. You've overachieved, if anything, over the last, if you like, 20 years. All of a sudden, the expectancy's there. I mean, probably in '88, when you went to Germany, nobody expected you to go to a major tournament. And when you go, and then all of a sudden you start doing all right, people think you have a divine right to go there. Don't forget, England have missed out on a few. By the way,
we don't forget, Ron. We enjoy that.
I think what you're saying is right, in fairness, that some of our best players are finishing off. But I think you're wrong in terms of we do have players. The problem that the Irish supporters and Irish soccer journalists have is that he's not looking at them. Yes. He's getting paid €1.5 million a year, and he's never been to a Premier League game to scout any of the Irish players, even in the League of Ireland. The man is managing by proxy. He's not in the country, and that's the problem.
Were you saying that before you went to the European Games?
Absolutely, because I'll tell you why I was. Because the squad he picked to go to the Euros were going to get battered. Because he didn't look at the players. He said, I'll bring the players to the tournament who got us there. And that's very noble. Yeah. But it was going to be nothing other than a whitewash.
Who would you have taken, apart from the players? McLean,
James Coleman, James McCarthy.
McLean, yeah, that's it, McLean.
And in fairness, he brought some of them, and they sat on the bench. But in the last game against Italy, when everything's up, that's where it's gone.
You as a manager, Ron, you know that you can't really judge a player and his abilities by looking at a DVD. You really need to see them in the flesh. Would you agree with that?
Well, you do, but you know, and I'm a bit surprised he hasn't been to more Premiership
He hasn't been to one,
games.
not one.
No.
Not one, Ron. That's
Tardelli goes to a few, doesn't he?
Tardelli does a lot of his kind of footwork for him, for sure, you know. But I mean,
I can't believe I've just given out to Ron Atkinson. The man is an absolute hero, man, you know.
Well, let's
talk.
Ron. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right, because I wasn't listening.
Very good. Very good. Ron,
he'll probably go home now and say, you know, I've learned something tonight.
No, they were right. He is a... anyway, what I was saying...
You're in very good company here, because there's a lot of United fans around this table. A lot of United fans in the audience. That's City fan. One City fan.
2 City fans.
G'day, two City fans.
Yeah.
It is incredible to think that you're the last United manager before Fergie. I mean, it's almost like they sat down and said, right, we need the exact opposite character to Ron Atkinson. Let's just get this Scott in.
Well,
He's so different to you.
Well, I'm proud of the fact that was 1981. How many years is that? 30 odd?
Yeah,
30 odd years. United.
The best area for Matt's there to your left, to be clear.
30 years. Manchester United have had two managers, myself and Fergie.
Yeah.
And it proves it works because between us, in that time, I think we've won something like 40 trophies.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fact that he's won 38.
Yeah, well, it's 37, you won 3. Yeah. You know what I mean? So.
The culture was very different at United during your day, and there was the infamous drinking clubs. Brian Robson did it on the pitch, but my word, he could do it in the bar as well, couldn't he?
Well, people said that, and that's a bit of a misnomer, that actually. But people used to say, like, and they named the three. Fergie named the three, didn't he? He said Robbo, McGrath, and Whiteside. Well, week in and week out, those were our three best players. Yeah. And whenever I see the lads now, I say, why the hell didn't you get the rest of them up out with you? We'd have won everything, you know.
Let's talk about the Irish players between United and Villa, of course. You know, you have some great Irish names there.
Yeah.
Were they different to the other boys? Because they were a class apart, weren't they, really?
They were great lads. I mean, particularly the ones born in Ireland, which was only two of them, I think.
What do you mean by that,
Ron? I've said the best player I've ever worked with in my life is Robbo. Robbo was phenomenal. But very close to him, was Macca. Yeah. Paul McGrath was phenomenal. He was great, and hear all the stories and the problems and all that, but all I do know is when I was at Aston Villa, he played in the first 4 seasons of the Premiership, he played more games, with the exception of Peter Atherton, at Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, I make a joke, I say he's the only player I've ever paid sort of disappearance money, but he only missed 2 games.
But he was first name on your sheet every week.
By a distance, and the fans, and his knees, I got to tell you.
And you didn't train?
No.
He couldn't because his knees were...
No, he would, in all fairness, he would have trained, but we used to say, I used to take his place in the 5-a-side, like I say, Macca, you be referee today. Like, he'd want to play, but
just to protect the
just
knees.
wait for him on Saturday.
When I look at your career, and you've had a stunning career, and that moment on ITV television, and I know you don't like talking about it, but we have to talk about it because it was a defining moment for you. It changed the way your career went. Saying something you didn't realise it was on mic. You said something that was deemed quite racist, and I suppose when you look back, it was. But do you look back at that as a really career-defining moment?
Well, I think I've been lucky. I left school when I was 15, and I've never worked since. That's how I look at it. I've always done something I've enjoyed doing, and all right, that happened. If it had happened a lot earlier, I mean that. Without going too deep into it, that could have been handled an awful lot differently because don't forget, I actually resigned. I went, all right, if that's how you feel about it, blow it now.
Because you were working as a pundit for ITV Sport at the time, yeah.
The best presenter prior to tonight I've ever worked with was Des Lynam.
Oh, Des.
That's all right, I was subtle. That was
Nice.
And Des Lynam he said, Ron, you should have waited, you should have discussed it all and left it like that. My attitude was, nobody, and I'll finish on this note in this respect, because I get a bit fed up of all of this nonsense, not nonsense, but whatever goes on. Nobody encouraged black players more than me. Mm-hmm. I was the first to have a group of them in my team, but it's not because they were black players. They were good lads and good players. They were just players. Yeah. I mean, I never differentiated. And if ever you listen to that thing again, a mate of mine heard it the other day, I actually quote somebody.
Well, I listened to it today because I had to remind myself of it. And yes, you do quote someone in it.
Yeah, and I was wrong to quote them. And I man's up and I apologise. End of story.
You essentially lost your job because of it, because of a racist comment. John Terry still got his job, OK? He's not playing international football. His decision. But he's still playing football for Chelsea. Does that annoy you?
No. I said there's... he's took his whatever's given to him, he's taken, and get on with it. I'll tell you, here's a little simile then. And you'll have done this. Everybody in this room at some given time when they've lost a temple have done it. They've gone, cool, I'll tell you what, I could murder you. Does that make you a murderer? And everybody, I'll bet, at some given time in his life, I bet your parents have said, if you don't behave yourself, I'll murder you.
Yeah. Can we talk about gay footballers? and the lack of gay footballers coming out and footballers who fear coming out in the Premiership.
Where are we going now?
I'll tell you what, Paddy McKenna will help you out here because he went to have a kickabout with the Dublin Devils, one of Ireland's first openly gay football teams. Just to see if attitudes are changing, have a look at this.
When I came out to my brother, he texted me afterwards and the first question he asked me was, can I still talk to you about soccer?
There's over 800 professional footballers in the English Premier League and another 100 in the Electricity Premier Division, and amongst all those, there's not even one openly gay footballer. So what is soccer's problem with homosexuality?
A lot of teams don't know we're a gay team. We just play them and they don't know. They don't know they'll be beaten by the gay team.
We do have teachers play for us, and unfortunately, if they're found out to be gay, they can be legally fired from their job in Ireland. We're hoping legislation will be brought in the next few years, as soon as possible, to really rectify that.
Part of the reason why we're here is to fight it, like.
Does anybody know who this gentleman is here? Yourself, sir. All right, so Donald Cusack. He's an openly gay man in Gaelic games.
Yeah.
Does anybody know who this man is here?
This is the rugby fellow, Gareth Thomas.
All right. Does anybody know this man here? This is Anton Huysen, and he plays in the 3rd division of the Swedish league. He's the most high-profile professional soccer player in the world.
It'd just be great for someone to come out in the Premiership. That would be an ideal thing to see. They're like tackling the racism issue, which is great to see, especially the Premier League. But homophobia has not been addressed, it seems.
So I think the first person to come out at the higher levels is going to face an awful lot of media attention.
Yeah.
And yet you have Max Clifford saying, don't come out, stay in. Like, you know, he would advise for money reasons.
If 5 of them got together and come out as a group, it would be so much easier. Like, they know who they are. If he's got 3-4 clients, he could organise himself, but he's just given the financial advice, and this isn't a financial issue.
According to the British publicist Max Clifford, football is still in the dark ages. So the question is it time that soccer grew a pair of balls?
Well, I'm delighted to say that Owen, Ronan and Francis are with us in the studio tonight. Boys, you're very welcome indeed. Good to have you here. Can I ask you one question? I'm surprised there's a need for a gay football team. Can you not just be a footballer who's gay? Why is it necessary this day and age?
Well, it's an idea of having a community is what we base it on. So just like any other town, like a city, like a place, like a workplace, we're a community here in Dublin who identify with each other. And that's for that reason we decided to come together to put forward a team. You know, there's a social aspect. We're just a group of lads who like football. At the end of the day, that's the basic premise of what we do. We like playing football. We like watching football. We're interested in the Premiership. We're interested in watching football. You know, we're like, for us, it's more of a thrill just sitting here watching Ron talking about the football. You know, so I mean that's why we came together as a team. The issue of community is paramount to what we are and how we operate as a team.
And Ronan, what kind of reaction do you get from other teams? Or is there any reaction at all?
See, like it depends. Like, say when I come out to people even today, and they say, "But you're really good at soccer," like I said about my brother that time. But if you beat him, you're coming off the pitch, like, and they're kind of questioning, "Are you gay? Is that team gay after beating us? Is that team gay?" And like you're kind of, so there's always
because you're not allowed to be a good footballer and gay.
This is all stereotypes, really, isn't it? Like, but I think when we go out on the pitch and we show them that we're able to play soccer, kind of undermines their ego a small bit, or dents their ego, so we're well able to play. Like, so if any team wants to play us, we're well able to play.
And one thing I do find amazing, you mentioned it in the VT there, Owen, is that 2 of your teammates couldn't be here tonight. And it's kind of out of fear, I suppose, to a certain extent. Explain more.
It's more than fear. Like, particularly one player would have absolutely loved to have been part of this show tonight, but he can be legally fired from his job simply because he's gay, and that's because he's a teacher. He's an absolutely excellent footballer. He's a fantastic soccer player as well as Gaelic player. But if the Board of Governors or any parents in the school found out he was gay, he could ultimately lose his job or be overlooked for promotion, and that's a real concern in this day and age for teachers all across the country who happen to be gay or lesbian.
It's shocking. This actually exists, Ron. Seriously. Section 37.1 of the Employment Inequality Act allows schools and religious organisations to essentially get rid of people that don't abide by their ethos.
I'm absolutely staggered that law exists. And I had no idea that exists in this country at the moment.
It's shocking.
It makes you embarrassed to be Irish.
H, for honesty, are there any? I mean, there may well be. I don't know. But
I would imagine statistically,
because what I was going to say to you is this: I think if they did come out, and played well, that covers that's all fans really are bothered about.
Well, look, lads, good to have you here tonight, and say hello to all the team first and keep it going. Good to have you here, lads. The Dublin Devils, lads. The Dublin Devils. So, Simon, you're clearly a footy fan, that's for sure. But you had that heady mix of football and show tunes. You love Vince Vaughn. He's working with him right now, Delivery Man, which just sounds fab. Tell us more.
Yeah, it's a remake of a French-Canadian movie that was made about 5 years ago. It's a comedy for DreamWorks, and it's about... this is a great tagline, this one, but it's about a guy who, in his late teen years, needed some money, needed a few bob, so he donated sperm to a sperm bank at an alarming rate. And there was,
Who hasn't done that, Simon?
And pardon the pun, but it was a balls up in the sperm bank, and they only gave out his sperm, so it turns out he has 533 children. So 241 of them have formed this court case, and they want to meet him. So Vince Vaughn plays that character, and I play his brother in it. So it's basically a family story. It's a very big family. Yeah. I mean, I have 3 kids, and I'm knackered. You know what I mean? But they're Polish Americans living and working in New York, and he discovers then that this lawyer approaches him and says, "You're being sued by 533 children, whose father you are." So, I was over there last week doing sort of pre-production rehearsals and a bit of filming, so I'm back out then at the end of next week for a month.
So you're a New Yorker, innit? How's the accent coming on?
Yeah, playing New York. Yeah, well, when I first started taping and doing auditions for the States and I was doing an American accent, I automatically went into the Sopranos kind of thing. And get over, all this kind of stuff. So it leans naturally towards the East Coast, but a lot of the auditions that I've been doing would be sort of for LA-based parts. So I've been working with a dialect coach to try and neutralise the accent. But when I auditioned for this, I was able to let both barrels go and give it the whole Tony Soprano. So, yeah, that was...
Well, give us a burst, Joe. Give us a burst.
I just did.
Go on, no. Oh, sorry, I thought that was a Welsh accent there. Sorry about that. Go on,
Ladies and gentlemen, my agent.
Go on, give us a real...
What do you want me to say?
What do you want me to say?
Shut your mouth. I'll stand up and slap you in the face, all right?
That's convincing.
Yeah, it's convincing Welsh, isn't it?
I tell you something, you're doing okay here as well, because there's great news this week that Jam Media, which is a fantastic animation company, I'm delighted for them, because they got this big deal to make a couple of more series of Roy. Have you seen Roy, the cartoon Roy? It's absolute Ron, you'd love it. Can we show Ron a little clip of it? Yeah. Have a peek at this, Ron, it's good stuff.
You did what?
Yeah, I know, and I'm really sorry, Dad. I was just trying to make money for charity.
And you thought you'd get a guitar thrown into the bargain too, I suppose, did you? It wasn't your money to spend, son.
I know, and I'm really, really sorry.
I love it. That's great. I just think it's great because it's a BBC show, but it's made here and it's an Irish company. Isn't it great that side of the industry is really doing well?
It's brilliant. I mean, we've done 2 series of it, which have run on the BBC, and it picked up the Royal Television Society Award for Best Children's Programme last year. It's sold right across the world for Jam Media. And this week they announced that the BBC have commissioned a 3rd and 4th series, so we're going to be shooting for 20 weeks from January to May next year. It's bringing in 8.85 million into the economy, and it's creating 60 jobs in Dublin. I mean, we need more of that.
It's great. I love it. After the break, we're going to meet a woman who's got an incredible story to tell. Actually, we'll make a movie someday, I'm absolutely sure. She was a pivotal member of Team Lance Armstrong and became a key witness in his downfall. You don't want to miss it. We'll be meeting her after this short break. Don't go away.